Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you doing today? So I'm super excited for this video because it's going to be another one in my lightest shade series, which if you guys don't know, I've been doing this series where I just go through and do first impressions and wear test of foundations, and I'm using the lightest shade. So I got the inspiration for this video series from Nima Tang. If you guys don't know who she is, she has very deep, dark, beautiful skin, and she wears the darkest shade of foundations. So she went through and did a darkest shade series, which I thought was awesome. And it kind of got me inspired because I always wear the lightest shade. So that's the whole story behind that. But today we are going to be talking about the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation. It just looks like this. This was my first time using it. I've got the little packaging right here. And I was excited to try this foundation because you guys, you see this all over Instagram. I feel like everyone uses this. I really wasn't aware of any claims or anything like that. Like I didn't know what this foundation was claiming to do, what it's about, who it's for. Nothing like that. All I knew is that it does have a wide shade range. So I'm going to go ahead and read you a few things from the Ulta website. This retails for $13.99, which is a little bit up there for a drugstore foundation. And it only has 0.43 ounces, which is less than half of the standard. It does come in 24 shades, which is a decent shade range for a drugstore foundation. The shade that I have is the shade Pale. So under the details for this foundation, it basically says that if you can have sheer to full coverage, if you want more coverage, add more drops, and they do call it a velvety matte foundation. So that's basically what it claims to do. You guys can see that other than my highlight, my skin is pretty matte right now. I also wanted to mention that I really like the packaging in this bottle. I like that it is like the frosted glass. It feels nice. It doesn't feel cheap, which is good since it is kind of higher up there for a drugstore foundation. I really enjoy that it has a dropper since that makes it so much easier to apply. You know, I'll take a dropper, a squeeze tube, a pump, anything over having to pour it out on your hand because that's a lot of wasted product. So I really do like the packaging of this. Before I jump into application, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some swatches quickly of the NYX foundation compared with some other popular foundations that I really like, so you can get a color reference. So first we have the NYX Total Control Drops Foundation in the shade Pale. Next is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation in the shade Porcelain. This next one over is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation in the shade Porcelain. The Fenty Beauty foundation in the shade 100. And then last but not least is the BH Cosmetics Naturally Flawless foundation in the shade 201 Ivory. So I think that's everything I want to say to introduce this foundation to you. If you want to see how it applies and my thoughts throughout the day, then just keep watching. So before I go in with foundation, I'm going to go in with my Glossier Priming Moisturizer Rich as my primer today. I love this. It really helps if you have dry skin. It just kind of preps your skin and just smooths everything out. It doesn't do anything for your pores or like any texture or anything, but it does help with dryness. For foundation application today, I'm going to be using a brush on one side, and I'm going to be using the Sigma 8 F80 flat kabuki brush, and on the other side I'm going to be using a sponge, and this is the Loreal one. So let's just go ahead and get started. I'm really not sure how much product I should be using of this. Again, I have the shade Pale, which is the lightest shade given the name of this series. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of it in the dropper. Do it the way you do it on Instagram. Oh no, right on my shirt. Okay. I was not made to be an Instagram beauty guru, that's all I'm saying. So the shade looks really nice. I like that it kind of has some like yellow undertones it appears to have. You know, really easy, very liquidy. I wouldn't say I'm amazed by this foundation. I really don't feel much. I mean, it's okay. The color is perfect, but I was definitely expecting more coverage. I definitely think that as you like blend it out, that it shears out a lot. I can see all of my freckles. It also looks to be more on the matte side. Really don't want that going in my brow. Okay. I also have quite a little bit of acne right here, and it's not covering it. I don't think I went in with as much product on this side. I'll grab like a few more drops in a second. Just gonna blend this out real quick. Okay, it's a miracle, you guys. I actually think I prefer the brush side more. I'm definitely getting a lot more coverage on this side, but it could be just because I didn't have as many drops because I was afraid it was gonna go in my eyebrows. Okay, that's a lot better. Okay, so I'm not sure how I feel about this foundation. I'm gonna bring my mirror nice and up close and do the magnified side. It looks okay on the skin. Like, it doesn't look bad, but it's just definitely a lot more on the matte side. The color is nice, but the overall, like, the coverage of it is just not as much as I would want. I definitely need a little bit more. I would say this is like light to like very light medium coverage. Like right there is where I would put it. So this is definitely more natural. I don't really have a preference between the sponge and the brush side. I think they look pretty similar. What I'm thinking at this point is that this foundation will be really great to mix in with other foundations because it is such a light shade that, and because of the way that it is, like, I feel like the dropper and everything, it'll just be super easy to mix a few drops in and make other foundations that are a little too dark for me lighter. So that's what I'm thinking I'm gonna use this as. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's not a bad foundation. Like, I'm not like, ew, it's cakey. Like, it looks nice on the skin. Like, it kind of looks like my skin, but it's just not. I've been using the BH Cosmetics Naturally Flawless Foundation for literally weeks now. Like, that's all that I've used. Like, that plus the Cover FX I've mixed together a few times, but primarily just the BH foundation, and that one is so glowy that like, I feel like the matteness of this is just throwing me off. So that's how I feel about the foundation so far. We're gonna go ahead and call my check-in time. It is 8:14. I don't know if you guys can see. Just got a notification when a makeup uploaded, so I'm gonna watch that while I finish the rest of my makeup. So I will be right back. Okay, so now that all the makeup is on, I just figured I would walk you through just a few things that I did. I did use the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in Fair, and it concealed underneath my eyes, and then I also highlighted my nose, my chin, and I spot concealed the acne that I had right here because it was coming through the foundation just a little bit. That's all that I used, and then I took the RCMA No Color Powder and I set underneath my eyes with the majority, and then I used whatever was left over on my brush to set the rest of the concealer. But I did not like kind of like get my entire face, but obviously I went with other powder products like bronzer, blush, highlighter. So this is the look with the foundation. I think the foundation looks really nice. I think it looks very matte, but it doesn't necessarily look drying. I think the color is nice. So I'm going to zoom you guys in so you can really see what it looks like nice and up close. So it is now 8:33 and I will be back in a few hours to show you how the foundation is wearing. So it is now 12:07, so it has been almost 4 hours, so I figured I would do like my halfway mark check-in on how the foundation is wearing. And before I even get into that, I have to tell you guys, I'm so upset. When I was doing the swatches for the foundation on my arm, I dropped the bottle and I spilt it, and okay, it was laying down so you can't tell as much, but literally this is all that's left in the bottle. Like, I spilled almost the entire thing because it's so runny. It just fell over for a second and it was just pouring out. So yeah, I basically almost went through an entire foundation bottle in one day. So as far as how the foundation is wearing, I kind of have mixed feelings. So for the most part, I like it. I think that it feels really good on the skin. Like, it's super soft. It doesn't even feel like I have foundation on, and it does not transfer at all, which is really nice. But I make silly faces a lot because I have an almost 1-year-old, and I noticed, like, I was like doing this face, you know, like doing that with my brows, and you can actually see like the imprint right here and right here. I'll zoom you guys in a minute, like of like the like wrinkle in my like between my brows, and you can see the foundation like settled in there and kind of looks funny. So I really don't like that. It doesn't look dry around my nose really. I mean, it looks good all over, but I don't understand why it's settling into those creases. So like, especially if you have more creases in your skin, if you're, you know, aging or whatnot, like, I mean, yeah, it's not blending out. Then like, I don't know how I feel about that, but everywhere else it looks good. So this is the 4-hour look. So I'll be back in another 4 hours for the final check-in. Okay, so it is now 4:10 and the foundation has been on for almost 8 hours. So I think that it actually looks really, really nice at this point. It was kind of weird earlier, it like was creasing right here, but it evened out. Like, I mean, I kind of smudged it a little bit and it didn't work then, but now it looks good again, so I don't really know what was happening there. But I think that it looks really, really nice on the skin. It's very natural, just like a very light layer of coverage. When I was watching the footage back, since I already edited part of the video, I did notice that the shade is actually super, super light. Like, I think it's even lighter than me, and it's when I did the arm swatches, it's the lightest shade there. So I think that the foundation might be the lightest shade that I own, which is kind of crazy, but I definitely think that the foundation, like what I would use it for in the future, would be to definitely mix in with other foundations, just because I'm not a huge fan of matte foundation, and I already have matte foundations that are my go-to. So I would use it to make other foundations lighter, and it's a little bit better than a white mixer because it's more of a natural shade to mix in with other foundations. So that's what I would use it for in the future, even though I pretty much spilled the entire bottle today, so I don't even know how much of a future there is between me and this foundation. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in so you can see how the foundation is wearing after 8 hours. That is everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.